Hello everybody, welcome to SNS Southern Styles. I am today's host, Mrs. Taylor, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make these cookie clay mittens. Look at them! I hope that y'all enjoy this and y'all have fun making them. And what you're going to need in order to make these is Crayola's Air-Dry Clay, paintbrushes, water, paper towels or wash rags, and paint. And also your time, because this is going to be a 2-step process. Good luck. Now we are going to roll out our clay, and you're going to roll it out just like how you would roll out cookie dough. Now, depending on how thick you want your mittens to be, fully depends on how thick you roll out your clay. And also depending on how thick your clay is, depends on how long it's going to take for it to dry. And all I'm doing is pressing down in the center and rolling out. I'm going to feel to make sure that it's the same thickness through and through. And I like how thick it is, so we're gonna get started. We are going to take our mittens and we are going to cut them out just like how you would a sugar cookie. Now we're going to get rid of all of the excess clay. You're going to be real careful with moving everything. But when you move up, so when you move them up, be careful about it. Sometimes you can reshape them, but this one is too long gone. So I'm going to completely just destroy it. I'm going to flatten it back out, and I'm going to do it again. That one just got completely messed up to the point that there's no repairing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it out. I'm going to get my cookie cutter, and I'm just going to remake another one. So if you mess up on them, you can easily go back and refix what you messed up on, and it's not going to take any effort at all. See, this one got messed up a little bit, but I can easily come back and just retouch it up. So some mistakes are simple, other ones are a bit too far gone. This is another one that's too far gone too. I had a little bit of water down on my table when I rolled this out. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. Turns out I was mistaken. So that one's just a little mess up. Easy fix. We're going to set it off to the side. This one's gonna, See, that one's not an easy fix, so we're going to add this to the messy pile. We'll add a little bit of scraps to that pile too. Yeah, there's no saving these guys. So I'm going to roll them up and we're going to make them again. And I am also going to wipe up the water that's on my board. That way we don't have this big problem anymore. This time I'm just going to flat these out with my hands. And I'm just going to make 3 more to make it even. 1, 2, 3. Now these guys are going to be thicker than what the last one was. Yeah, they're going to be a lot thicker. See, and I don't want them that thick. That's the cool thing about clay, is that if you mess up, just mush it down and go again. See, now this guy, perfect. Exactly what I want, the exact thickness I want. It's beautiful. Except these little guys, you're just gonna smush. Go. We're gonna cut them out. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Got one more little dude to do. I'm gonna pick him up. Just gonna squish him. We're gonna grab our cookie cutter, cut him out. See? Mistakes happen. It's just the way that it is. It's the way of the world. And mistakes are easy to fix. Sometimes they're a bit harder to fix, but that's okay. They'll get fixed either way. Just don't give up on them. So these are how we are going to make our little mittens. Now if you want to just use these as plain earrings backs without putting any holes through them, skip this part. I am going to take 2 of these and I'm going to put them to the side without putting holes through them, and then the other 2 I'm going to put holes through them, just because I want to do a little experiment with them. So if you don't want them to dangle from an earring hook, don't worry about putting holes through them, but if you want to use them as earrings or as ornaments, put the holes through them. The 2 that I kept, I'm going to put bigger flat earring backs on them, so they're just going to be studs instead of dangly earrings. And I want to see if it's going to look good or not, so I'm going to let them dry up, paint them up, and go from there. As far as these guys go, I'm going to put a hole through them. It doesn't matter what you use for this, as long as it's sharp. Well, it doesn't have to be sharp, as long as it's pointy and it can make a hole, you're fine. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. It's just because one side looks nice and pretty does not mean the back side is going to share the same looks. And you want to make sure that there's no excess clay inside of the holes, because once it hardens, that's going to be a bit hard to get out, and it's going to be hard to put your jump loop through. If you're using a small jump loop, make sure that you're making your clay thin enough, and you're making sure that your hole is close enough to the side that they can fit through, but you don't want it too thin or too close that the jump loop is just going to break the clay. I'm going to put all of these over to the side, and it's going to take around 2 to 3 days for these to fully dry up. Of course, depending on how thick or how thin you made it, that time's going to vary. If you want to make 100% certain that they're completely dry, wait a whole week, and that way you can tell. Also, if they feel cold, there's probably still moisture in them, but if they feel warm temperature, then they should be completely dried. I will show y'all the process of them drying, so that way y'all can see every step of the way and see which ones are dried fully and which ones aren't, so that way y'all can tell. But I will see y'all then. Tins have been drying for 3 days now. They're going to need about 1 or 2 more days left to dry. They're still soft enough that you can carve into them, and that's how I know that they're still going to need some more time to dry, and they still feel cool to the touch, not room temperature. As you can tell, the colors in them has changed from this point to what they were when they were first created. But I will see y'all once they're dry. Well, it has been a week and they are finally dried up. It took so long just because I made them way too thick, but that's alright. I'll know for next time. But they're still soft to the touch. I really do enjoy this clay a lot. To end up doing is the 2 that I'm going to paint. So I'm going to paint one that has a hole in it and the other one that doesn't. So that way, I don't know, y'all can see better which ones y'all prefer and not. And I forgot my paintbrushes. Give me one moment. The paintbrush that I'm going to be using are going to be these 2. The paints I'm going to be using today in order to make these mittens is going to be this brown, and I'm going to mix this brown with the white in order to make the colors that I desire most. I am going to mix multiple shades of brown and let y'all see which ones y'all prefer. And then I'm also going to be using the red, and the red I'm going to use for the icing. I will explain more once we get to that point. In which I did already pour my red and my white out on the side. I got a bit ahead of myself. Yeah, y'all can see that. Just making sure. The brown that I'm using does dry darker, so I am going to have to try and keep that in mind when I'm making these colors. And I am trying to scoop my red away from my white. So I'm going to put, I really hope y'all can see this, I'm going to put a little bit of white off to the side. It says a little, I mean quite a bit. Now we're going to go over and we're going to just do a little bit of brown. I think that would be good. And we're just going to mix it up. Nothing too hard. And you just keep adding brown or adding white until you get the color in which you like. And you could just buy light shades of brown, and that would make everything probably more simpler and easier. I just don't have any. I've used all mine up, so I have to get a bit creative. But that is perfectly fine because it gives me good practice. Now this first color that I made, me and my husband have both decided that we enjoy this color a lot better. It does make it look like a sugar cookie. If you want yours to look less like a sugar cookie and more like a gingerbread man, I do recommend you making it darker, and I will still show y'all the different shades of brown, or different shades of cookies. Which I don't know how well you're going to be able to see these different shades on camera. Some of them you can see very well, others of them you can't tell a difference at all. But in real life you can, and I know this because I forced my loving husband to look at all the different things that I made to make sure that I wasn't going crazy and that you could actually tell a difference. And what I'm doing here is when I put my layer of paint down, it bubbled up there in the center, so I took a small paintbrush, or You can even probably use a toothpick and just dab the hole to get the excess paint out, so that way the paint won't harden inside of the opening. And also, the paint that I am using is fast dry paint, so it doesn't take that long for everything to dry up. And it's a good thing, but also it can be a bad thing, because that means that the paint that I poured out will dry up quicker than usual as well. So if you are using this paint, you're gonna have to get right on top of it. Once again, I'm just clearing out that little hole, and I'm painting my tops and bottoms first, and then I'm going to go through and paint my sides. Like I said, every time that I go through, and I paint, I want to make sure I have no paint drying on the inside. Okay. So, I just realized something, and this was a mistake on my end, but it's good to show y'all. So I have both of my openings here, and you know how I told y'all, make sure that no extra clay gets inside of the circles, because if it does, you're not going to notice it. Well, I didn't check to make sure on this one, and there's a small piece of clay that dried up on the inside of the circle. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get it out. I'm probably going to get a nail and hammer a nail through it to see if that won't open it up. I don't know if you can see how well this one's opened up compared to this one. So when I hold it up into the light will shine through this one, but it won't shine through this one. So it does mean that piece of clay is inside of it. So be careful when you're drilling out your holes for these, to make sure and to double check that you did actually make the hole go through on both sides. It is very hard to tell. I'm going to go through and I'm going to paint my sides. And you're going to get some bundled up parts, and that's fine. Just finish smoothing them out. And then we're going to set that down and let it dry. These two done. I'm going to put them up to the side. I am going to grab 2 more. Now the next batch that I make, I'm going to make sure that it is darker, and I'm going to go up almost to a burnt cookie, almost to a burnt cookie look, and then we will go and hit the gingerbread look. Now when you're mixing up your paints and you want them to be the same color each time, if they're slightly different in color, don't worry too much about it. It's hard to get paint mixed to the same color both times, and it takes a lot in order to get it. This is the brown that I'm going to use, and we're going to get started. Now I'm going to paint these up the same way that I painted up the other ones. We're just going to do a top layer. Then I'm going to go through with my paintbrush. Make sure no paint got up in that hole to dry up. So with this one, I didn't make the same, I slightly made the same mistake. So you know how I told you to make sure that your needle goes to one side and then flip it over and put it through the other side so the opening's big? I did not do that with this one. I only went through on one side. So the opening looks normal on this side, but on this side it's not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a jump loop through there or not, so I might have to get a hammer and a nail on this one as well. I don't know the best ways of doing that. I know that that's worked for me, but at the same time it has worked most of the times I've done it. Some of the times I've done it, it has broke my clay project that I've worked on. So it's about a 50-50 chance if you're gonna break it or not. But we're gonna try something, and yeah, by the time I was talking to you, my top side dried up, so I went ahead and just painted the bottom part of it. We're gonna go through, we're just gonna paint the top. I'm going to check the openings, make sure that they're good. Yeah, see, I don't know if y'all can see, but my paintbrush went through the opening on that one, so that one is perfect. And a good reminder is, every time you use your paintbrushes, make sure that you rinse them off afterwards, so that way, once again, I am using fast drying paint and I don't want the paint drying up on my paintbrush, so every time I go through and I re-clean out the openings, I do rinse and wash my paintbrush off. I have a little bottle off to the side of me full of water, and I give it a nice good rinse and I wipe it off. Now y'all aren't going to hear me shaking up any of my paints or messing around with the water. So when I'm editing the videos, the noise of it is so loud that it hurts my ears, so I try and chop all of it out. Now I'm going to set that off to dry. This one's done and dried, and I'm going to hold up the other mitten, and I'm hoping that y'all can see the color difference. It's slightly different, and this is one that I haven't painted yet. So you have the normal white color clay, you have the tan one that I painted, and then the burnt, quote-unquote burnt cookie one that I did. This one is the one me and my husband likes the most because it looks more like a sugar cookie. This one, it's okay, it looks more like a snickerdoodle cookie than a sugar cookie. Now the next one that I'm gonna make is going to look like a gingerbread cookie. So our two favorites from me and my husband is going to be the sugar cookie one and the gingerbread one. I will get that one painted first, and I won't paint this one until I show y'all what all four of the colors look like, and y'all can decide which ones you'll want to use. So with the mixture that I already have made up, I'm not going to make up an extra batch. I'm just going to put more brown into that one batch. So what I did to one, what I've done with the rest of them, I'm going to do with this one. I'm just going to paint the top part of it and then set it off to dry. Now I don't have another one to paint on, so I will I don't have another one to paint on, so I am going to end up skipping through to just the ending of it, so you don't have to sit here and wait on this one with me. Also, before I forget, when you're done painting these, dip them in Mod Podge, so that way the paint doesn't come off, because it might chip up a little bit, but once you put it in Mod Podge, it will be fine. I don't have any Mod Podge on me, and also I'm going to be dipping mine in resin instead. So with these guys, I'm going to end up putting a big earring back on them, so they'll just sit on your earrings. But then the ones that I made the little hole through them, I'm going to put a jump hoop through them and turn them into dangly earrings. And I will show videos of doing that, but they'll be shorts because it's self-explanatory basically for them. But either way, and I don't know why I put that down, I have to show you all the colors. So here are the 4 different colors. This right here is just the plain Jane white color clay. This is the tan sugar cookie color, and this right here is the quote-unquote burnt cookie color or snickerdoodle. This right here is the clay white, this is the sugar cookie, and this is the snickerdoodle color, and this one right here is the gingerbread color. Now whichever ones you'll like best, choose from there. I will be painting this one right here, the gingerbread color, because I do not like the plain white color. Me and my husband have just decided that it looks like cookie dough, uncooked cookie dough. We don't really enjoy it, but I will be painting these three, and y'all can see at the end which one of these three you'll like the most. I do. Give me a minute. Come here. Come here. Yeah. You want to say hi to everybody? Huh? Huh? Say hi. Okay. These are what I was looking for. They're the first sugar cookie ones that I've made. I don't know what order these videos are going to go out, but I do have there's a video for these eventually somewhere. I don't know. This one was the one that I didn't paint. This one was with the color that me and my husband like, and then this one is in a darker shade. It is a bit darker than what this one is, but these are what they look like in comparison. There's not much of a difference between the sugar cookie color that I like and the white, but there's a big enough difference that it looks weird. So, but y'all do whatever y'all like and whatever y'all want. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to paint this one. I'm not gonna have y'all sit through that and watch all of it, so I'm just gonna skip through it. I will catch y'all back up once I'm putting the theoretical icing on the gingerbread cookie. I've finished painting everything up, and as you can tell, I already have a little bit of chippalays. That's why it's really good for you to put Mod Podge over this once you're done with it, so that way your paint doesn't chip off of it. So it doesn't always happen, but when it does happen, you will notice it, and you don't want it to happen. So to prevent that, Mod Podge, you're good to go. Or resin. That's what I'll be doing. With all my little pieces all painted up, I'm going to take my darker color first, because I'm going to have to do 2 layers in order for this to look the way I want it to. We're going to get our white. We're going to outline the mittens, so to speak. I hope this is at a good angle where y'all can see it. We're not going to fully touch the edge, because we're trying to make this look like cookies. If you do end up touching the edge, don't worry about it. Mistakes happen. And I've never seen a perfect cookie before. And for y'all also to have an idea, I'm not trying to make this look like these cookies are from a professional bakery. I want these to look like you made them at home. These are cookies that you made with your kiddos, your grandkids, with your family. That's what my goal is for these cookies to look like. I'm not too worried about if they turn out well or not. So there's my first one. I'm just going to do the 3 ones of them so y'all can see those. And here will be my second one. And we're just going to go through and just paint the outline of it. We're not going to fully touch the edges. We're going to leave some space in between. Like what we did with all the rest of them, we're doing the same here. We're not fully touching the edge. We're just trying to fill up that center. Ta-da! I am going to have to go through and put another layer on top of this one. Just from how dark it is, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm going to go through and rinse off my paintbrush. Now I'm going to take this one, and this is where our red will come in. So I'll get a bit of that beautiful red, and we're going to paint the bottom part of our mitten. So this part up here, I still want it to remain white, because I want it to look like fluff. But this part I'm going to paint red, and I'm just going to follow the outline that I made with the white. Now if you don't follow the outline correctly or perfectly, don't worry about it. Because by the time you're done making it and it's fully dried, you'll enjoy the way it looks no matter what. I might go through with some black and add a little bit extra detail to these. Yeah, I'll go through with some black and I'll show you what I mean by that. But first, let's get the rest of these painted up. So we're just going to trace over and fill up the white that we made. We're going to go down here at the bottom. And once again, these are just cookies that you bought from Walmart or the Dollar General. They're not professional baked cookies, or they're cookies that you made at home with your family. I'm not wanting these to look at any means perfect. This Christmas time isn't about being perfect. It's just about enjoying your time with your loved ones, being grateful for all the beautiful things that have happened this year, and getting ready for the new beginnings in your new year. I'm going to set these off and let them dry before I get started on anything else. By the time y'all see me again, these other ones will have been painted already. So the mittens are all done and painted up. I'm going to get my black, and I'm just going to take the paint out from the lid and that little paintbrush that I was using in order to get the paint out of the holes is what I'm going to be using for this step. So I want to add a little extra detail to it. That way you can see more of what's going on. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take my little brush and I'm going to just paint swivels. how you would make a cloud. And I might take it a step further and outline the mitten. I'm not gonna lie, I am a bit afraid to, because I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. But I enjoy the way that that looks. That's what I'm going to do with the rest of them. And I'm gonna, once again, show y'all how I did it. Just going to go through, and I'm just going to put little swivels, little humps. When you were little and you would draw the clouds up in the sky, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not gonna lie, these kind of remind me of the Grinch mittens from that little bit of detail helped a lot. I'm gonna do it one more time. We're just gonna go through and we're just gonna draw a cloud like what we drew many a times when we were little. If you have a paint pen, that would make this process a lot more easier. And then we're gonna add some of those little humps inside of it. Once again, we're just going to make a cloud, same like we would when we were little kids. Doesn't matter if it's perfect, messy. If you have a paint pen, that would work best with this. And then we're going to add those same little markings on the inside of it. Here are our mittens. They're finally done and finished up. But what do y'all think? Do y'all like them? I hope y'all learned something from this, and I hope that y'all enjoyed watching this. And if y'all make any of these, let me know. Send me pictures of them if y'all can. So I'd love to see what all y'all can do with this stuff. But thank y'all so much for watching, and y'all have a blessed day.